So our number one sports story of 2024 is a kid who hasn't even played at BYU yet. In fact, he's just visited a few times. But when AJ Dybantsa signed to play for the Cougars on December 10th is when he announced he actually signed a few weeks earlier. BYU got the number one draft pick or number one prep recruit in the country, the projected number one pick in the 2026 NBA draft, a kid with no tie to BYU, no tie to the church, saw BYU as better than Kansas, North Carolina, and Alabama, his finalists, to develop him to go to the NBA and also to be a place where in his short time in college he could have a good experience. And he picked BYU as the best spot for him. And BYU got so much pub that day alone, and then the days that followed.
He announced it on First Take
on ESPN more than anything BYU basketball has ever done. There was Jimmermania, there was the Ainge years, but in one day, this Dybantsa announcement and the coverage it got trumped all of it, and it took BYU to a different place.
Yeah.
His impact will be seen once as he gets here and how productive they are, but also with the players that are going to come here because he came here.
There's already another top 5 recruit that's out there that's saying, yeah, I really have to maybe include BYU in my list right now because imagine me going to play with AJ. Maybe that's where I should be going, and now he's in the mix. I mean, that's what happens. Now, if he comes and he is the number one pick the following year, and Yegor gets drafted in the top 5, which he's projected to be right now, and Cannon continues to develop, maybe he's a first-round draft pick, now the pump is primed. And people start coming. And when we say AJ, he was the number one recruit in the United States. He's the number one recruit in the world.
Right.
Like, if they didn't have the rule that you had to come play at least 1 year of college, he would be the number one pick in the NBA draft this year. Think about that. BYU's never had a guy coming out of high school like that. That's that, you know. Now, he's got to develop. He's got to keep getting better. But
got to stay healthy. Yeah, all those things have to do.
All these things have to happen. But it just changes the game for BYU recruiting. And it changes the narrative. I hear national guys now who don't know anything about the honor code saying, well, it makes perfect sense. Like, if you're going to be a top basketball player, I mean, that honor code is the way you should be living anyhow.
Yeah. And
you don't want any distractions. You want to go focus on your craft. And it's like all of a sudden national pundits are going, yeah, this honor code's a great thing for BYU recruiting.
And we got a glimpse of what life's going to be like a tiny bit. As shortly after the announcement, it gets announced that BYU is scheduled to play Villanova at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. I think it's November 3rd. It'll be on national TV. And that's what this does to the program. And there's going to be a whole bunch more of these marquee matchups because people want to see him. And he happens to be wearing a BYU jersey. So then they have to see BYU basketball.
Yeah.
And that gives the other guys on the roster a chance to be seen as well. Who doesn't want to be a part of that?
Yeah, it's fun stuff, and it really does change the game. And
so AJ is the number one sports story at BYU. He came in, boy, you come in December and you jump to number one.
People may
that's
say
how
to
crazy
us,
that
how
was.
do you have the number one sports story be a guy that's not even there?
I know it.
But the trajectory of what's going on has just changed with him signing here. So
thank you for watching The Wise Guy.
If you like what you're watching, you can help us out by subscribing and hitting that notification button.